Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at the new cards for the next expansion in Hearthstone known as the Boomsday project. So to see the new cards, you go into crafting mode, you click include uncraftable cards, and then you come over here and select Boomsday. Last time we looked at the priest cards and I was left a little bit more bemused with the additions in the priest expansion compared to the previous 4 characters, but today we're going to look at the rogue cards. I would imagine, if I was to argue it, the rogue, the shaman is how you pronounce it, the warlock, and the warrior. I imagine everything except for the warlock are the bottom 3 classes that are played right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see better cards and more help happening up. I would say the warrior is probably in the middle somewhere. Let's see, are we at the right place? Yes, we are. First card is a 2 mana, 3 attack, 2 health minion called Lab Recruit. As a battle cry, shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. For the rogue, that's probably not terrible, but here's what I'm thinking. If you're playing Wild and you have the Pirate Parrot card, I don't know what the actual name of it is, that card I believe automatically is summoned to the field when you play a pirate. So if you played a 1 mana pirate and then that summoned the parrot and then you shuffled 3 copies of that parrot back into your deck and then you played another pirate, you've got 4 parrots on the field in really short amount of time. I'm not sure that there's any other card that specifically synergizes with this card. Certainly there are other ideas to shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck, but you'd have to work around whatever concept you're working with there. Next we have a 2 mana, 1 attack, 1 health mech minion called the Pogo Hopper. Battlecry, gain +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you've played this game. So we're seeing a strategy here where if we played this on the second turn and then played this and put 3 copies in the field, we could then play another 4 cards minimum. Actually, if we played this twice, we could play as many as 7 copies of this, each getting bigger and bigger. So 7 times 2, you could have a 15/15 Pogo Hopper just by having these 2 cards and 2 copies of this card and 2 copies of this card on the field. Probably still would want a little bit of help to summon and draw all of those cards onto the field though. Next we have the first weapon in the new expansion that we've seen, which is not super surprising because weapons have always been a mess with Hearthstone. The concept really needs some major help, and I think they finally resolved to just kind of nerf and put most of the weapons into Wild and try to start over from scratch. So maybe this is the beginning of a new day for weapons. It's a 3 mana, 3 attack, 2 durability weapon called the Necrium Blade. Death Rattle, trigger the death rattle of a random friendly minion. It's a decent card as a weapon, I would say, but I don't see a strategy quite yet that you would want to trigger a death rattle on a rogue minion. But certainly it seems like death rattle cards are coming back into vogue with this expansion, because I've already seen other character classes that, particularly if you're playing in Wild and using Baron Rivendell, which doubles your death rattle effects, you can do some really crazy things. Next spell we have is a 3 mana spell called Violet Haze. Add 2 random death rattle cards to your hand. So, yep. I'm assuming that when you're playing standard, you only get 2 random standard Death Rattle cards. I don't think you're going to get Fugen or Stalag from a card like this. Maybe if you're playing in Wild, you could get those cards, but maybe not. That's some of the programming that happens in the background with Hearthstone that doesn't usually get explained ever, or takes a lot of experimentation and third parties to figure it out. Next we have a 4-mana spell called the Academic Espionage. What is this? Oh, this is a spell book. I thought this was a pizza box. Shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck. They now cost 1 mana. I don't see how this could be a bad card, honestly. If you're playing against almost anybody, even if they're a terrible player, having 10 1-mana cards in your deck and basically being guaranteed that you won't run out of cards before your opponent does, seems like a really good card to play. And you could play it twice and have 20 extra cards that cost 1 mana. Next we have a 4-mana 2-attack 4-health mech minion called the Blight Nozzle Crawler. Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with poisonous and rush. So yeah, that's pretty good. Like that makes sense. This minion dies trying to kill something. You have a 1/1 ooze that can kill something else. Maybe there's a spell out there that could duplicate your 1/1 oozes. That's what I'd be trying to keep an eye out for, is can I get more than one of these in standard play? Of course, there are going to be a lot of scenarios where this guy doesn't die, or this guy dies and there's just nothing the 1/1 ooze can attack, so rush is pointless. Or this guy dies on your opponent's turn and they kill the 1/1 ooze to protect themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to play around that card. Next we have a 5-mana 4-attack 4-health creature called the Crazed Chemist. It is a combo card, combo being a specific key phrase only for Rogue. It's a little surprising we're getting more combo cards, but there is a daily quest to do combo cards too. One of the things I'd love to see in the next expansion is daily quests getting revamped in a completely different way. I understand that daily quests are built around the idea of logging in every day, and I'm fine with that, but when you make me log in every day, theoretically, and then play 30 minutes to 3 hours of gameplay, you're taking too much of my time away, frankly. I've got other games that I pre-record on my channel, and Hearthstone in particular has become very burdensome for the amount of time it takes to maintain the 3 different accounts I have, the America's account and European account and Asian accounts. So yeah, I'd really love to see the combo system become a daily login reward system, or perhaps just allow me to sit on 5 daily quests instead of having at max 3, so I could come back less often instead of having to come and stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Although frankly, since I'm covering video game news when I'm playing Hearthstone anyways, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday sort of works. But I'm getting off topic. That was a 5-mana 4-attack 4-health Crazed Chemist combo. Give a friendly minion plus 4 attack. So you'd want to play this like on the 6th turn, where you could play a 1-mana minion and then give that minion plus 4 attack. Next we have a 5-mana 4-attack 2-health legendary minion called Myra Rotspring. Battlecry, discover a Death Rattle minion, also gain its Death Rattle. So on the face of it, this looks like a really good card, but it probably isn't. It's random. Whenever you use the discover key phrase, you're just given 3 random cards from some pool. Or sometimes the pool is just all the random cards you could ever have played. Sometimes the pool is limited more, it seems like. But the likelihood you would get a really, really good death rattle when playing this is rather low. Ideally, I think there's a card that would give you 10 mana crystals or refresh 10 mana crystals on a death rattle. That would be something you would want to get with this. Highly unlikely that's going to happen. You're going to get things that either summon a 2/2 Trent or in some other way do something very small. So I don't think I'd play Myra Rot Spring, even though it's a legendary. Next we have a 5 mana legendary spell called Myra's Unstable Element. Draw the rest of your deck. That is certainly crazy. So my running theory is you can have 10 cards in your hand at one time. I don't know if that's really the amount. It might be slightly more, it might be slightly less. If you had 10 cards left in your deck and you had nothing in your hand except for this, and you played this on the 5th turn, then you draw those remaining cards. You'd start taking fatigue for every turn after that. What is the strategy there? The rest of your deck has to then be full of cards that synergize very, very well. And if your cards do synergize very well, it's unlikely that you would need to draw them all at one time. This feels like a very desperate play to do. And unless there's a minion, there might be a minion that gains +1 attack for every card you draw. So maybe that would synergize with this. So you're drawing the rest of your deck and thus buffing this one minion for a 1-turn kill. I guess that would work. But for most people, I think this will be an overused and improperly used card. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh!, which has the... what is it? Exodia cards. There's these 5 cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. Exodia, the Forbidden One, I believe is its name. That if you have all 5 of those cards in your hand and you show it to your opponent, you automatically win the game. Or at least that's sometimes how the rules are applied. The rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! Were written as they were going and making the anime, so who knows how it plays now. If you had a cards set like that, this would be an amazing synergy card. This would be like way too overpowered. I don't think we're ever going to get a card set like that though. The closest we have is the hero replacement tool for I believe the paladin that summons the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse through the hero ability. But that's kind of it. Final card we have is a 5 mana spell called Necrium Vial. Trigger friendly minions death rattle twice. So we do have for the rogue a death rattle doubler. Playing in wild with Baron Rivendell, you could then theoretically maybe quadruple that effect. But much like the expansion for the priest, I'm mostly less bemused on these cards. I think these first 2 are the most interesting, where the rest of these I've kind of already forgotten about. Just death rattle, death rattle, death rattle. This one's pretty good. One more combo card to do the combo daily thing, daily quest. That's kind of it. Let's look at rogue cards, however, in wild. Let's see if there's really a synergy there. I think in Wild, particularly, you still could play combos and pirates and do a lot of different things. You've got the Doomerang, that's a standard card. You could return cards to your hand. You can get more coins. There's some mechs that can be played. Not that there really were any more mechs. You could play Gang Up, which adds 3 more copies for the Pogo character. You could go for the Jade Golem concept. Definitely, you could try that. There's just a lot of wild cards that you'd have to consider if you're playing in Wild that might help, but they honestly may not. He was banished. Return all minions to the owner's hand. Let's see. Gain stealth until your next turn, and then during your turn, it adds a shadow reflection to your hand, which lets you play the same card twice. For the hero replacement card, and let's look at just standard cards. Just playing standard cards, you're definitely limited. Play 5 minions with the same name to get Crystal Core, and Crystal Core makes all minions have +5/+5. No, have a 5 attack and 5 health. So I could certainly see playing Crystal Core with the Pogo bunnies. What were they? Certainly that would help to get the quest card done. Yeah, Pogo Hoppers. Yeah, I could certainly see how you could try to get 5 of those on the field. But then when Crystal Core gets played, they would lose their buffs. So it still doesn't synergize as well as you would like. Let's see. Trying to see what else would work here. You definitely still have some weapons. There may be a daily quest to play weapons, but I don't see it very often. I've yet to really see a card in the expansion that I just absolutely have to have. If anything, it will probably be a neutral card if I do find anything like that. But yeah, I'm mostly still left with just the general inklings, a tingle of a thought in my brain. Replay every card from another class you played this game. Targets are chosen randomly. Maybe that would work with something, but I don't think it does. Alright, well that's Rogue. We've got 3 more character classes to cover, and then we'll look at the neutral cards. I really should have looked at the neutral cards first, but that probably would only add to the amount of time it takes to look through all these cards, which it's certainly a long process looking at all the cards and just thinking about them, but at the very least it gives me some ideas. It's questionable how many decks I'm going to build from scratch and that will be my concepts versus how many decks I'm going to build just using hsreplay.net. I think I probably, when I do the 150 plus card pack opening when the expansion comes out and get cards, I will build deck rebuilds just from scratch as my own idea, but then off screen I'll probably replace a lot of those with hsreplay.net decks, or probably I'll play the new decks that I build for a week or two and then decide to switch over to something that's more likely to succeed. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, and I definitely could use it, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card. There's a wish list there that I have of all kinds of games at all kinds of different prices. Right now, a lot of board games are on sale on Steam. So certainly some interesting picks there, like Tabletop Simulator probably being the default one to pick up. That's it for this recording. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.